I'm not posting the video clip of him saying this. All right, you can go look at it if you want to. It's not that it's not that I'm disgusted by it and shit. I'm disgusted with this man as a person and shit. Obviously, he's very flawed. You know, he's been him and his partner in life. His boss have been going out of the way to destroy what it appears to be a supposed legacy. Was really a 8-year legacy of failure to the black community and shit. Right? It's a legacy of failure. Oh, why? But it says here, Barack Obama says men need gay friends to teach empathy, be role models to kids and whatnot. And he prefaced this by telling of his gay mentor, I don't know, in college or some shit. And it don't matter, but he do mention that. And I feel like he did a disservice to his gay professor by talking about him in terms of his orientation and sexuality and shit, instead of what he learned from the motherfucking shit. Did he, I don't feel that he said he learned anything about tolerance, because he already had tolerance. He's probably closeted himself, and that's why it means so much to him and shit, because this man could be out in the open when he was trapped inside his ambition and unable to fully express himself, and he's gone to the highest chair in the land and spent 8 years fucking up the black community and shit. Right? Look, I don't care if Obama's gay or not and shit. I wish he would come out the closet and shit, because it would at least be a slap in the face to a shitty beard wife, or a husband, depending on some reports. It would be a slap in the face to her fucking ass, because all she does is sit up with a stank face making these shitty ass bust down videos and these post wall videos and shit. She don't even have any, she's not grateful to him as a partner, even if they're in a sham marriage. She's not even grateful. She attained the highest chair in the land next to her husband, who was the fucking president and shit. There's never not been a woman president yet. She had the best opportunity to be a female president and shit, but she was chicken shit. And somebody need to call her out on that shit, instead of, letting her sit up here and make these these negative statements and shit that, drip back down to the black community. Everything drips down to us and shit. They want us to accept all this bullshit they want to push, and they don't want us to acknowledge you in the current day, 2025. They don't want to acknowledge you as an ethnic group. They don't even say black people anymore. They say people of fucking color. Nobody's yet challenged any of these politicians on that, Like, ask them, hey, can you say black people and shit in the positive and shit, not as something connected to the supposedly criminal justice system, which is corrupt as all get out? I don't want to hear that bullshit from any politician and the jackass bringing this shit. And I'm disgusted with a Barack Obama shit. He's a disrespectful son of a bitch to his gay professor and shit. Okay, he disrespected him. Is that all you saw? When you looked at him, when you learned from him, is that all you was looking at? Was a gay man? Was you checking him out or something? Was he checking your ass out? Do you want to tell us the real story, or you want to sit on your ass and lie? Stop lying. Okay, just come out of the fucking closet. We're tired of you. It would make a lot of sense if he came out of the closet, would explain Michelle's, behavior shit in part. Alright? She's insufferable. You're insufferable. We don't want to see you guys anymore. You failed the black community. You didn't do anything for us. I don't want to go down that road of talking about how you did so much for gay people and everybody else, and how you bombed the living fuck out of Libya and shit, and destroyed a nation that was run by a person of color and shit. And it didn't make anything better. It sent a lot of black people, black looking people, okay, people of fucking color, into literal slavery over there, and made that whole country insolvent. When that gentleman was on, when the leader of that country, Gaddafi, was on the verge of introducing a currency, that was, linked to that area of the world, a whole currency. Yeah, they don't talk about that stuff. And I'm not going to talk about it either, because I know a lot of you are already heading for the hills when you hear anything vaguely political and shit. Now, what the fuck do you expect me to say when I see this bullshit? And I am raising a kid. I have 2 sons and shit. I didn't raise one. I'm raising this one, though. Right? And through no fault of my fucking own, by the way. Okay, I didn't do anything except refuse to suffer, and be abused in perpetuity for the rest of my life until, I went to an early grave. And so some goofy bitch could enrich herself and do absolutely nothing but waste money and look at herself in the mirror, shit, and see something that ain't really there. All right, like I don't care. I don't think that you know. I don't think that gay men specifically need to be a mentor to black boys. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Every time you guys come out and do something, you aim at our community. You don't say that to white boys. Why don't you tell them they need to be gay mentors to white boys? You want to be hung by your heels. So you never came out in all those 8 years. Other than, when you flew the colors at the White House and you signed all those pro-gay, bills into law and shit. You've done enough for the gay community and shit. They asked nothing of you, but you gave them more than you gave the ethnic group that you habitually yelled at and told us that if we didn't do what you said, it would be an insult to your supposed legacy. And shit, you got mad at us because we didn't want to go for a woman that was incompetent. She was incompetent. She was unfit for the role. No one's gonna convince me otherwise. If anybody talking to me is a fucking idiot that's arguing against that point that she was not ready for the highest chair in the land and never will be. Okay? Bad behaviors. You think guys have gotten worse over the years. You didn't learn anything from your handlers, much less your gay professor and shit. Now you got the nerve to sit up here and talk to black people and shit. Stop talking to us. You don't relate to us. You was not raised amongst us. You was raised in privilege and shit with the white family and shit. Okay, your father was not a foundational black American, so how can you relate to our experience? Everything you saying is bullshit, and you sound like a Manchurian candidate sitting up there, and you look fucking pathetic, and I'm tired of looking at you. I don't like you or nothing, but I hate seeing you in this condition. You have no decorum and shit. You don't care. Did they tell you, did you get orders to fuck your own supposed legacy up after they let you sit in the White House for 8 years to kill the stink off of what they had done in the previous, 8 or so? Right? I already knew this would happen and shit. And a lot of people came up to me. When you was elected, an asshole Nigerian that was in the position of power over me at my job called me to his office to tell me specifically that racism no longer existed because you reached the highest chair in the land. And I just looked at him with a blank face and shit. I felt like giving him the back of my hand for saying something so egregious, but he was just plain ignorant. It was the most ignorant thing I had heard from someone in a position of power over me in that time period. Alright? So, just to let you know, I'm raising a boy. Alright? It's a little kid. He's going to reach double digit ages this fall. And he doesn't specifically need a gay mentor shit, okay? If there's gay people in his life, they're just gonna happen to be there, shit, because that's where they are at the time and shit. Okay, I'm not gonna say, hey, gay man, come talk to my son. Like, what is he gonna learn from a specifically gay man that he's not gonna learn from his own motherfucking father that's not malfeasant and criminal in nature? Alright? You people need to really get off this social engineering bullshit, okay? It's ridiculous and it's heavy-handed and you're not good at it anymore. Either that or you just think you've dumbed down the society enough to where you can sit up and make these egregious out-of-pocket statements and shit about the family. It's your job when you was your job was to run the country, alright? And you followed orders and you list all your donors and your handlers and you did your job for 8 years. And it was an approximation of your job. And you presented a false narrative of black love that obviously doesn't exist based on the behavior of your fucking life partner, Michelle Obama and shit, who won't get off the shit, okay? Get out of here. We don't want to see you. We got money. You're rich. Get the fuck out of here. Okay? Nobody wants to see this except idiots and noobs and shit. The people that your administration helped usher into the age of the dumbed down and stupid and an insolvency of black political currency, capital, whatever you want to call it and shit. Alright? We don't need to hear you don't strike me as anyone that's even personable with your own fucking children. Okay? I don't see where you're doing anything with your own motherfucking children and shit. Okay? I seen you walking around with them for photo ops and shit. You take the motherfuckers overseas and let them sit in the corner of the room while you talking to world leaders or anything. If you really cared about black woman bullshit, black woman, any goddamn thing, fuck no. We seen your kids smoking weed and, kicking it with their white boyfriends and all that bullshit, What can you tell the black community about anything? Nothing. Okay? You lied and you cheated and shit, and Jesse was right to say you wanted to cut your nuts off with a knife for being disingenuous. And I endorse that that comment and shit, and I think Jesse should cut his own nuts off after you get through cutting your nuts off. Okay? Because you're both were parasites in the community, and the community's no better with your involvement in it and shit. All the people that cared about the community were killed and murdered. Okay? They left people like you behind. Man, you were an industry plant, politically speaking. Okay? You are an industry plant. You're never going to be anything but an industry plant. And your wife is blah. Okay? I'm tired of looking at her ugly ass face. Can you tell her to get some filler or something to do something, man? At least fill in them lines in her forehead. You know, or tell her to shave every now and then. Okay, I'm tired of looking at a 5 o'clock shadow. Okay, and you need to get the fuck off, man. Go be happy with your man. Okay, go get back on that raft boat. I saw that picture. Go get back on that fucking boat with that guy and hug the fuck out of each other. Just love each other, man, and right off into the sunset, right over the Skittles rainbow, my nigga.